Hi everyone. Yesterday we discussed about the what is what is understanding the firewall and idea basic idea of firewall and router layer 3 and firewall layer 3 we discussed about yesterday session. Now today we discuss about NAT is today's day 4 is a firewall. Yes, today we discuss about the NAT. First of all, what is NAT? NAT is nothing but network address translation. Translation. Today we talk about this address. In this there are in this network address translation is a map used in private IP address, private IP address, and public IP address. First of all, what is NAT? NAT is a map of user in private IP address and public IP address. In this private IP address is a single public IP address to single public IP address. In this, it is used within the local network. These are in Private IP address is used in local area network, and public IP address is used to connect directly the internet. This directly connect to the internet is suitable globally. So, in private IP addresses is facilitates communication between devices on a local area network. So, and in this public IP address is enabled to communication between devices on different networks over the internet. Over the internet. So, coming to the private IP address, this range is this range in IP is 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. And coming to public IP address range is 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255. These are in range of private IP address. Sorry, public IP address. And the coming this private IP address is not visible to the internet. Is not visible, not visible to the internet, and this is visible and public IP address is visible to the internet. Is only internal users. Private IP address is only internal users. Internal users. And these are in connected to the visible to the internet. So, for example, this is private IP address is example is the range of 192.168.1.1 and subnet is 10.0.0.5. Not subnet, sorry. These are in public IP, sorry, private IP address range. And coming to for this example is, and this example is This example is A.A.A.8 is a global DNS, and this is 184.216.34. These are in private and public IP addresses. These are in private and public IP addresses. I explain once again. In private IP addresses, local area network is used, but not routable on the internet. But not routable in the internet. And public IP address is routable. The connect directly to the internet. These are connected directly to the internet. This one is not routable. This one is direct connected to the internet. And this facilitates communication between the devices on the local area network. Private network are used in the local area network devices communication. This public IP address is a enable communication between devices on over the internet. And this is the range of is 0.0.02 to greater to 5. And this public IP address range is 0.0.0.02 to greater to 5. In this coming to private IP addresses, is usually local area network examples of usually homes and offices. Is facilitating communication within, for example, 192.168.1.1 to 10.0.0.5. And coming to public IP addresses, using access the internet, enable communication with the devices. In this outside outside of the local network. Example is 8.8.8.8 is a global from IP address. This is a global from IP address. Google from Google IP address. So coming to this, today we discussed these two are, and coming to in this there are two different there are two different types of net. What are they? Two different types of net. Two different types of net. First one is static net, and second one is dynamic net. First, coming to static net. What static net? And dynamic net. First, what is static net? Static net is when private IP is a maps with a in this sorry. NAT is used in a map in single private IP address to single public IP address. is used to single private IP address to single public IP address, and is also known as NAT. In this NAT is in this NAT is a coming to this dynamic NAT. This dynamic NAT maps a group of private IP address to pool of public IP address. This the first one is static NAT is nothing but the single is a single private IP address to single public IP address. Single public IP address. And coming to this dynamic net is the net is the map of of groups of private groups of private private IP address private IP address to a pool of public IP address public IP address and and other one is PAT. PAT is nothing but is a PAT. Another name is PAT. PAT is a port address transition. Port address translation. This this is a map multi-private IP address to a single public IP address using different ports. It is a multi-private IP address to sorry multi-private IP address to single public IP address. IP address is different used in different ports. Used in different ports is known as PAT. Is called as PAT. Is another name of NAT. So coming the chart in this, you know that everyone is you know that everyone. So in the coming there are and what the difference of inside and outside nets and um, global net and local net and conditional net. We discuss today. Next, sorry, next part is inside and outside net. Inside net and outside net. Now discuss for this. And coming to this inside net, what is inside net? What the purpose of this? In this purpose to allow multiple devices on the private network to access the internet using a single public IP address. To using a multiple private IP network, to using multiple uh, devices on a private on a private network to access the internet using access the internet internet single public IP address. Internet single public IP address. In this how it's work and they how it's going outbound traffic and in this security so on. Coming to this, how is what means when the device inside the private network center device inside the private network send to a request to the internet. In this NAT, we translate the private IP address to the public IP address. In this NAT, we transfer to the private IP address to the public IP address to translate. And this NAT devices usually this router usually mm, keeps the translation table to track with the internal devices using in this port on the public IP address on the public IP address. So in this inside net primarily and its outgoing traffic, this enable internal device to communicate with the external service. This enable internal devices to communicate the external device. Sorry, external servers. External server. This is a external server. This is a external server. This is an internal device. So this this is a web server. Web server. While keeping the private IP address to the security is layer of security by the internal masking IP address from the outside world. So this outside world masking internal IP address to to make difficult from external attackers to directly target to specific devices on the private IP addresses. Private IP address. In this we in this home networks or the home network attack to the home network or ops networks and so on. And in this in large enterprises use inside NAT to manage internet connectivity for multi devices. So a computer on a private network within the IP address is, for example, 192.168.1.12. It wants to access this access of the website. And coming to public IP address is 203 from the 203.0.14.51 is a 4.9. In this request to send out to the source IP address, change it to public IP address. So when the website responds, the router uses this NAT table to forward the response back to the private IP address. is coming to this NAT allows internal devices to share a single public IP address for internet access. In this security and conserving public IP address, this is called inside NAT. And coming to outside NAT, outside NAT is a is a mm, is a to refers the process of translation the public IP address access to private IP address. This is private IP address to the internet multi-device. Public IP address to access to the private IP address. When external devices devices on a private network. So this is a web server and coming to this outside network address translation is a outside of the refers to the process of refers to the process of public IP address to mm, private IP address. This is a external devices. This is a external devices communication. External device communications. In this communication with the internal devices on a private network. This is a external device communication with the internal device on a private network. So this purpose all external system to access to hosted or internet device like a web server or application server. Like this is a web server and this is the application server. And this OV what means when the request comes from the internet to a public IP address, the network address translation devices to usually to a the router. And this check it's a translatable to in this map the public IP address is so to corresponding private IP address to based on these rules define the network address translation. In this configuration, the router forward the request to the appropriate internet devices this of the outside network with address translation. These are in to based on the rules of the configuration of the NAT. Sorry. In this incoming traffic, coming to incoming traffic, outside network address translation is a primarily and is incoming traffic. Is primarily adding to the incoming traffic. Is a primarily adding to the incoming traffic to enable is external devices to the service within the private network. In this private networks to service to external device to enabled. So the coming the next port forwarding, how to port forwarding in this outside network net address translation is used in conjunction with port address translation. Is a forwarding to specific of the public IP address. To specific of the public IP address is map of different internet IP address and postcodes. So, though the in this concentration of the security devices, while it's allow external access to curricle to implement properly security, such as firewalls, to measure the protect internet resource from unauthorized access. So, this like examples of like 192.168.0.1.100 Shada 1.100. These are in a web server inside a private network. This is a inside of the private network. This uh, sorry, this is outside of outside of private network. Sorry, 1 minute. I will check. Okay, these are inside of private network. Okay, correct. And this router as is a public IP address is 203 dot public IP address is like 203 dot 0.113.5. These are in public IP address. To external users want to access the web server by entering the public IP address in this browser. This browser, these are in public IP address in this browser. So this router uses outside net to receive the request of public IP address and to translate the internal IP address is 192.168.1.100 is based on the network address translation table. So this forwarding request to the web server to this outside network in this outside network with address translation to facilitate the access the internet network service. So from the external internet by transfer public IP address to is a one of the private ones and and also it's requiring careful management of the security. These are in known as inside network address translation, outside network address. These are in inside network address translation, outside network address translation. And coming to the next part of global net and local net and condition we discussed now. What is first of all, what is global net? What is first point? First global net we discussed. What is global net? In the definition, global net is equals to a translation of address that's occupy the internet facing internet interface of a NAT devices. Is a is a refers to the translation of address that occur in internet facing of interfaces internet facing interfaces interfaces often of a NAT of a NAT device the device. This is to refers to the translation addresses and this and to this purpose of all our devices on the private network to communicate with external network using the public IP address. So this allows devices What other devices is? Hmm, like private. Mm, is it private IP address to the private network communications with external network using the public and external networks using the public IP address using public IP address. And in this case of the global network administration, mm, often implementation in large networks where as many devices need internet access. Like that, network device transition private IP address to public IP address for outgoing traffic and back from incoming response. So, so, so private network communication is a to the often implementation in this large network where many devices need internet access. There are many devices there internet access like NAT devices transfer public IP address and public IP address for outgoing traffic for outgoing traffic outgoing traffic and back to the incoming response. Incoming response. In this, like for example, in your home, there are the one router, or many there are router. Is that a router is that transfer all devices private IP address. In this, in your home, this is your router. In this router, there are all devices is like one private IP address. Yes, like 192.168.1 dot so on. So this is a single public IP address. So this is a single public IP address. Like public IP address like 203 dot 0.113.5. These are in public IP address. Yes. When access the internet, this local area coming to local area network. What is local area network address line? This local network address transaction is to refer local now it refers to the transaction of addressing that occur within the private network. Private network. So what's the difference in this global NAT is like interfacing the NAT devices NAT devices fancy NAT devices. So this and coming to this local network address translation is refers to translation the within a private network if it is a primarily used for routing traffic internally. So in this purpose of local NAT is the enables devices within the same private network. Same private network. the same of private network. And to communicate this using their private addresses while managing other space effectively, this is come and in this global network is the devices on the private network to communicate external network using the public IP address. And in this local network area is the same to global area network to same global area network. Global area network is communicated with external network using the public IP address and is the communicate using their private IP address while managing other space effectively of local area network, the local network address translation. In the users, the situation where internet devices we need to access services through a different address or when managing overlapping IP address spaces. This company in this is a for example this is a company of XYZ company. In this company, there are multiple branches, multiple branches are there. In these are local NAT to ensure the device to to the devices is similar in these devices. Similarly, one IP address, one private IP address, private IP address. So like 192.1ci.1.f and so on is to coexist without conflict. The NAT in this these are in the local network address translation of the devices. And coming to last one is conditional NAT. What is conditional NAT? Conditional NAT, what the definition of conditional NAT? Sorry. Conditional NAT. In this definition of condition, what is conditional NAT? What the definition of conditional NAT? In the conditional NAT to all of the dynamic NAT based on specific condition or specific conditions such as the destination of IP address, destination of IP address. So in this purpose to provide flexibility in NAT is applied. NAT is applied to enable different translation rules based on practice. So this in this case often used in complex networking environments or where certain types of traffic need to be handled differently, such as certain application or services of the conditional NAT. In this, for example, an ad, an ad, an ad using is to router in a voice of IP address. In this voice of IP address to traffic through the different public IP address. Traffic through the different public IP address. Public IP address. So in this generally is a web traffic. Web traffic generally is a web traffic. It depends depending on the types of services being access. In this in this of conditional access. Coming to the global net, global net, global net is a manages translation for devices communication with the internet. So and local net is and others translation with a private network. And conditional net is a applies net based on specific rating, specific criteria or conditions to allowing for more dynamic and flexible others management. These are in NATs. Today we discuss about these NATs, different types of NATs, and what the different private IP address and mm, what types of NATs, starting and dynamic and PAT, inside NAT and outside NAT, conditional NAT, and local NAT. These are discussing today. And next session we discuss about the OSPF of firewall, ASA firewall. So this is the end of the session.